With that, we're going to get started with our first keynote. I am very, very delighted and very privileged to introduce our first keynote. That is Professor Paul Kim, or Dr. Paul Kim. And Paul Kim is the founder and president of Seeds of Empowerment, a global social innovation incubator that he established in collaboration with Stanford University graduate students in 2004. Currently, he serves as the chair of the International Expert Committee on Education Technology at the World Bank, and advises Lumos Capital, Robo Ventures, and Check Inc. As the former Associate Dean and Chief Technology Officer of Stanford University's Graduate School of Education, Dr. Kim dedicated 24 years, or is it 25 years, to advancing learning technology for marginalized communities worldwide. Let's put our hands together to give him a warm welcome to the stage. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Did you have your coffee? My job is to keep it awake. All right. So today is empowering 21st century learners. I'll start with a little bit of my background so that you understand the points that I'm making, where are they coming from. So as Sophia mentioned, I'm currently advising Robo Ventures. It's one of Silicon Valley VC firms. Lumos Capital is another VC firms in EdTech. These two companies are specifically investing in EdTech innovations. And Udemy, how many of you know Udemy? Raise your hand. Udemy. Oh, okay. Have you used it? Yeah? Did you like it? Okay, sorry. I've been an early advisor to Udemy in 2010. And so it went IPO in 2021. I was very happy to see that milestone. Chegg, do you know Chegg? Yeah, some of you? It's a company that advises students with different subjects in the K-12 space. So I'm currently advising Chegg. And Seeds of Empowerment is the NGO that I founded in 2004 with grad students at Stanford University. The World Bank, I'll give a little bit of the sort of a story with the World Bank as well. I'm serving as the chair of the Committee on International Experts on EdTech. Other things I've done, probably this will give you an idea why I travel around the world. NELC is a National E-Learning Center for Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I provided the blueprint when it was establishing in 2007 or so. University X is for Dubai. I designed the future university for Dubai. And then Stratford Schools, it's a K-12 school chain in California. So I kind of cover nonprofit, for-profit, K-12, higher ed, formal, informal, the whole education ecosystem. I try to see the big picture, what's happening around the world as well. And then I do connect people from various parts of the world. And that gives me a clear picture. Where are we going? At Stanford University, I launched a few programs, Entrepreneur in Residence program, EIR. I invited various experts and leaders from the EdTech community to come put together a course and share their real world stories with our students. I wanted to make classes more relevant. And so the person who is leading this class there, his name is Sergio Monsalve. He's the CEO of Robo Ventures, and he's been investing in EdTech space for many years. And so that is the program that connects the students with theories that you learn from the classes, but you actually connect with experts from the industry. Another program that I launched, Digital Learning Design Challenge, which is to give students opportunities to start something, whether it's a social impact NGO or it's a startup, whatever that may be. I want students to be entrepreneurial. You will hear this keyword entrepreneurship a lot in my talk, because I think every student needs to be an entrepreneur of some kind, whether it is for profit or nonprofit, social impact, or a global leader in EdTech innovation. So I started this program about 6 years ago. And then now we have many students who are going through this program at Stanford. They become CEOs of various EdTech companies. You know what Stanford is famous for? Entrepreneurship. They like to give every student opportunity to be an entrepreneur. Joy Chen in the picture here, she's from Shanghai. I invited her. She sold her company to TAL in China. And now she has a lot of stories to tell to our students. So we try to bring a lot of industry experts to the campus and share their lessons that they picked up. How many of you are familiar with StarX? StarX. This is a separate program outside of the university. It's a StarX staff is primarily composed of student volunteers from Stanford. So they run this organization. They help student entrepreneurs on campus, and they have in the past 10 years, the total valuation of all the companies that they have helped, they value $40 billion. That's pretty incredible in 10 years, right? And each student startups, in average, they raise about $24 million plus, and now they have more than 1,600 founders. So whether you make impact through innovation or EdTech, whether you make impact through NGOs, whatever that may be, we like to measure student learning based on impact, global impact. Also, a course that I put together at the D School. How many of you visited D School, design school at Stanford? Some of you visited D School. So the course that I put together is called the Design to Equip Learners in Under-Resourced Communities. This is me, and I'm working with students from different departments and schools. Students are invited from medicine, law, business, education, etc. Many different students come to this class, and they brainstorm on developing solutions to help students in underserved communities around the world. In this class, the last class that I taught was winter quarter last year, so January. I employed AITA. Do you employ AITA? You don't? Maybe some of you tried it. So for the whole quarter long, our students had access to AITA. And I was curious, how helpful was this? So I asked the students, how was it? And their responses were pretty interesting. They said, oh, first of all, they are always available. Well, that's good, okay. All right, and what else was good about the AITA? They said, they're very patient. Oh, not like the human professors, right? They're very patient. And what else? They said their responses are very detailed. Oh, great. So now I begin to see where the professors will be 10, 15 years from now on. If the AITAs are more patient, always available, their responses are very detailed, right? And so that was something that I learned from this experience when I deployed this AITA for the class. For the class, many projects are real-world projects. For example, the picture on the top left, you're seeing a scene of Syrian refugees in Lebanon. So students are developing educational solutions for the Syrian refugees in Lebanon. The picture on the right is the mobile learning solutions for the indigenous community children in Mexico, things like that. The bottom pictures are scenes of the classroom activities. It's very noisy. It looks like disorderly and it's chaotic, but they are talking in their teams, working on their projects and solving problems. And then they come up with a solution that they implement. Unfortunately, I could not take my students to Lebanon last year because you know why. It's pretty dangerous right now. Hopefully, I'll be able to take them later. But I'm still in communication with all the folks in these different places. The thing that I focus a lot on are 6 C's. I think I mentioned it yesterday, those who were here. We all know 4 C's, right? Communication, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking. We all know 4 C's. 2 more C's that I have added to this is compassion and commitment. And I believe that if students learn to solve a problem and if they come up with innovative solutions, but if they don't have compassion, they may not actually see through it. They may not actually implement it. They may not be responsible for making a difference in the real world. They may just do it as a part of the coursework and a grade, and that's about it. But in my class, I would like to see students demonstrating the competencies of compassion and commitment. I really want them to understand the real pains and needs of the students in the other side of the world. That's very different kind of a course. So many projects like these. The one that I mentioned briefly is this one in Philippines. The students developed a solution, learning solutions for the incarcerated youth in Philippine island prison. Something like that. And we have projects for various other places around the world. So students continue to develop. Now they have to incorporate AI, they have to develop some edtech solutions, they have to think about the business, they have to think about scaling, growth, everything, because they are coming from multiple different departments. Students with a different expertise and backgrounds and experiences, they work together to make these things happen. That's, to me, it's the real class. And that's where they really learn to solve problems. How many of you are familiar with Manu Prakash? Raise your hand. Manu Prakash. No one? No one knows who he is? Okay, that's okay. That's fine. Manu Prakash grew up in India. He traveled to many villages, and he saw, as growing up, he saw that many clinics in villages didn't have microscope. You need at least a microscope, right, to see things, germs, and so he thought that, can we develop something that's affordable, really affordable, extremely affordable, so that every clinic in villages could have at least a microscope. So he invented a $1 microscope with the folding papers. And you can buy this. I think this is like $6 today. But he invented this I think at least 12 years ago or so. So he came up with a microscope. And it's called a Foldscope. You can buy it in Taobao or someplace online. You can really buy it. It works great. In some workshops, they actually build this together. And he also saw that many clinics didn't have the blood separator. In order to analyze your blood samples, you need a blood separator. But the blood separator, it costs too much money, like $40,000, $30,000, and it has to spin really fast. He was looking at kids playing with buttons. When you put together strings and then you pull it, the button spins. He looked at it and said, how fast does that thing spin? And he figured out that, maybe I can put the blood separator on that disc and then see if we can separate the bloods. And actually, that cost less than $1, but it spins faster than the motorized blood separator. So he invented that. But why did he do it? Why did he do that? Why does he keep inventing things for rural villages, underserved communities, and so forth? Because he's compassionate. He likes to help. And he understands the needs and pains of these people living in marginalized communities. What does he do now? Can you guess? He's a professor at the engineering school, bioengineering at Stanford University. He continues to do this with his students. Why? Because he's compassionate and he's committed. So 21st century competencies, 6 C's, as I listed here. I think these are the important competencies in the age of AI, especially in the age of AI. I have a colleague, Dr. Bowen, who also works in Lebanon with the Syrian refugees. He takes the VR, the 360 camera, he captures all the scenes. And also he interviews the refugees. And then he added LLM to represent the refugee. So in the VR space, when you wear your goggle, you can actually interview the refugee. And then the refugee will respond like the real person would. But they are all based on LLM, meaning that the refugee, the context, the information, the conversation, and all that are captured and then put it into LLM. So that if you cannot go, if you cannot travel to these places, you can still interview them, you can still interact with them, you can still learn about their needs, you can still learn about their pains. That's the kind of way to use technology, in my view. Why do you use technology? To make a difference, not just the sake of innovation of technology. So last year I came up with this Smile LLM. A lot of people probably talked about equity issues. What about the places where there's no internet? What about the places where they may not have AI? They will be so left behind, right? Brookings Institute in the US, they said that for the students who are living in underserved communities, it will take them 100 years to catch up if the developed regions don't do anything. That means they are so left behind. So I came up with a portable AI. How many of you are familiar with the Raspberry Pi? Some of you. So if you put Llama 3 on Raspberry Pi, have you done that? You can do it. It's slow, but it works. It's like a ChatGPT in your hand. And this thing runs on battery. So you can take AI solution to villages and then have students interact with AI. They can ask critical thinking questions, they can get responses, and things like that. I'm particularly interested in deploying this solution in villages, indigenous communities, and they speak the language of Huichol. That's the language. And a lot of them are living in Mexico, mountain areas. And Huichol is becoming extinct soon. And probably many languages will become extinct. And I like to help them remember what their ancestors' life was like. And I want them to interview their ancestors. We have the AI ancestors, at least to respond to questions that these children may have. So something like that, that's the kind of use of a technology for, making impact in the underserved communities and developing regions. Yesterday, I talked about coaching. You remember about coaching? Anshi, he was a high school student when he joined in a trip to Uganda, and then he saw the villages, and then especially the rural villages where a lot of women didn't have any jobs. They were poor. They didn't have enough food to eat, and he felt something responsible on his shoulder. He thought that maybe I can do something. It looks like even if you're poor, you still have a mobile phone. That's very interesting, right? Even if you go to the rural villages, they still have a phone, at least. So he thought, can I connect these people with the jobs that are available in other town or next villages and so forth? So he built this app, deployed it, and then the Ministry of ICT picked it up and said, wow, this is an amazing app. So this high school student was able to make a difference in the village. And that's what I do. I coach regardless of student age, regardless of where they live or where they belong. I talked about Ian's case yesterday. This is the boy who loved music, who loved chemistry, and the parents wanted him to just study chemistry and be a scientist. You'll be better off. So he came to me and asked, what should I do? I said, well, why don't you make music from chemical reactions? So he did that, and then he started to share what he learned with refugee kids, refugee children in, they are basically for the Afghan refugee relief program. So he shared his lessons that he picked up. Another student, high school student, I love to take high school students and show them the world. Oftentimes, they show more compassion and commitment before they think about grades. And so a student like him, I've taken him to Kazakhstan to work with the Ministry of Science and to develop AI and entrepreneurship curriculum. All these students come to me via email. Yesterday, I got an email from a student from Dubai and saying, I developed something, I'd like you to take a look. I get these emails all the time, and I don't care whether they're high school, middle school, elementary, or college, or grad, postdoc. It doesn't matter. If they are compassionate, if they are committed, they like to make a difference, I like to coach them, I like to help them, I like to work with them. Idina and Elsa, they were trained to work on the workshop, and then I took them to Hong Kong University to deliver a workshop. Yesterday, workshop, I don't know if you came to my workshop, I took 2 high school students to come and assist the group. I like to involve many students who care about making a difference in education. Now, so compassion and commitment and 6 C's in the age of AI. We used to think that, oh, these competencies serve among humans, but not anymore. 6 C's in the age of AI, meaning you have to learn to collaborate with AI. You have to learn to understand, to communicate with AI. You have to use AI to be more creative and so forth. So 6 C's in the age of AI is real. And if you don't understand the limits, strengths, and weaknesses of AI, it's going to be very difficult to thrive in this day and age. The company Chegg came up with a global student survey, and they found that 80% of the students have used the Gen AI to support their university studies. 67% used Gen AI tools for academic tasks. 43% use Gen AI for career development, 42% used for personal organization, etc. In order to use Gen AI tools, you're not just using it as a search engine or just using it as an answering machine. You need to have all the 6 C's to be able to effectively use these tools available. And top 3 improvements students would like to see in Gen AI tools. 50% said they create tools specifically designed for education purposes. A lot of these tools are still not really leveraging AI. And the meta AI competency is the term that I coined. What does that mean? I think I touched upon yesterday in a panel discussion that students must be able to choose and select different types of AI solutions and be able to get the best results. The way that I do it is I start with a ChatGPT and then give that work to Cloud AI and to Gemini and so forth, so that the AI tools are competing to get me the best results. I do that all the time, every day. And I know exactly what I can do or cannot do or what I should expect from a particular set of AI tools. I think this is very important. You cannot just get the kids to rely on AI, because we know that AI tools will hallucinate. They may give you false information. They need to learn to verify and get the best result. And so having multiple AI agents compete, that competency is meta AI competency. And that is becoming very, very important in the age of AI. Whether we like it, some of you are concerned, maybe you're not afraid, but some people said, oh, we're afraid of AI taking over the world. What if they, start to be against us? And then, we've seen some movies, right? Whether we like it or not, it's going to just continue to grow and continue to rapidly develop as we speak. Whether we like it or not, it's happening. There's no way to stop it. So how do we use AI properly is the question. Last year, the Ministry of Science of Kazakhstan asked me to help them develop AI and entrepreneurship curriculum for their country. So this is the Minister of Science, Kazakhstan. He's traveling around the world talking about this project and how proud they are to develop an AI and entrepreneurship program for Kazakhstan youth. Their goal is to train 100,000 students every year for the next 6 years to have the AI and entrepreneurship ecosystem in Kazakhstan. And the name of the project is called AI Sana. You can Google it. You'll find a lot of news articles about this. Their task is to transition to science and technology policy oriented to the practical needs of the economy and society. Sana means mind, consciousness, thought. So AI Sana is to evoke a building, awakening an AI mindset and capabilities. So I mentioned there was a curriculum called BG. Right? So if you look at any curriculum, that looks like BG. We should do AG, right? I know that all of you will be doing AG, right? You're not going to let your students to be a passive learner. You're not going to let your students to just go to school without meta AI competency. I know you will change, right? You will be doing AG. So I came up with this curriculum for Kazakhstan. AI for a better world, addressing global challenges through inquiry-based learning in real-world scenarios. For me, it's just natural. This is fun part. I like to do these kind of things, inventing new things. I like to create new curriculum, new activities, new solutions, and experiment. That's how I live. It doesn't matter what organization I'm with. I just do this for fun. As I said, playfulness is very important, right? And when you don't know whether you're working and playing, that's the good thing. If you separate it, maybe it's not good. The reason is because if I feel I'm playing, I'm having fun, and actually I'm producing something. So I think it's the most ideal situation. So I came up with this curriculum, and I wanted to know how good it is. So I put a lot of examples and simulations and animations. It takes me a few minutes to create these things because I work with AI. You remember the difference between BG and AG? AG means that you are incorporating AI to solve all the problems, and you are requiring students to use Gen AI tools. I know some professors say, do not use Gen AI when you are working on your project. Do not use Gen AI when you are solving problems. No. I asked them, you must use Gen AI because otherwise you will not be able to solve the problem. And so I give them the kinds of problems that they require the use of AI tools. So it has all these simulations and animations. It makes it so easy. So the curriculum design approach is this. It has to be hands-on. I don't like to talk about theories all day. It has to be hands-on. And I like SDG focused and inquiry-based. They have to continue to ask questions. And to work with AI, copy-paste to learn. That's pretty simple. You copy, paste, run, execute, and see what happens. Figure out, tweak it, and do it again. Copy, paste to learn. Copy, paste. You don't have to have a computing background. You don't have to have a Python programming background. Anything. You don't need anything because you can continue to ask and copy, paste to run. No coding experience required. So I gave this curriculum to many groups of people. First, 4th grade to 11th grade students in China. A bunch of students took this curriculum. 10th grade to college level students in USA, Singapore, and Korea. And also AI developers working in IT companies in Kazakhstan, Korea, and China. I wanted to know what they think about the curriculum itself. The whole approach is copy, paste, run, tweak, learn, and copy, paste. You know, this is a very easy process. You don't have to know any Python. 5th grade student. His name is Leo. He's demonstrating cosine similarity example from the curriculum. He's saying, is this what you want? This is the way I should run this application and tweak it so that I can solve some problems? Yeah, I said, great, keep going, keep going. 5th grader. And he came up with this prompt. I like to help farmers in poverty-stricken areas of Africa lift themselves out of poverty. Leverage AI to analyze local climate, soil data, recommend suitable crop varieties, achieve precise irrigation, and fertilization. He continues to work with AI. He must work with AI to come up with this prompt. Copy, paste in ChatGPT. Hey, turn it into code. Turn it into code. Pretty simple request. And then put that in there, copy, paste into a system called the Replit. How many of you know Replit? Some of you must know Replit. Copy, paste, run, and see what happens. This is the Replit interface. A 5th grader. Copy, paste, run. Basically, build and deploy. And that's all you have to say. And this builds the app. Within a minute, this builds the whole app by itself. I'm going to take a screenshot for you so you can verify, is this exactly the way you want it? And then it deploys 10 drones. And the system controls the drones to survey the whole land in Africa to find water sources or fertilizable sort of areas where you can plant different types of crops. It analyzes everything by itself. The 5th grader was able to do this by doing copy, paste, run, working with AI. Okay? If we took the traditional route where this boy, 5th grader, learns to program in Python, you learn the syntax, the coding, you have to line up all the sentences. If you make one mistake in indentation, this will cause an error. Do we need to teach that? Do we need to teach them these things? I don't think so. No more. That's a BG. This is an AG. I don't think the students need to know where to put the period or colon or where to line up the indentation and things like that. I don't think so. We don't have time for that. Just tell it. All you have to do is imagine and create and deploy. So a 5th grader was able to come up with AI-powered farming drone swarm exploration system. 9th grader, after taking my AI curriculum, he came up with a solution. What he's doing is he's capturing the bird chirping sounds in Beijing, bird chirping, and then analyzing what particular bird species that is, and change the frequency and tone and keys of the bird chirping and replace back to the birds and see if the birds respond. That's his research. A 9th grader. And he's joining the Kaggle Challenge. Today is May 29th? Oh, today is 28th. Tomorrow is the deadline for this Kaggle Challenge. This 9th grader doing this scientific research. And the prize, $50,000. It's not too late. Tonight, when you go to your hotel room, work with AI. I'm talking about AG. You can still participate in this competition. You can. Imagine what you can do with the $50,000. The deadline is tomorrow, 29th, 2025. Whether that 9th grader wins this or not is not important. What I care is that he was able to do it. He was able to do it. That's what I care. Student who came yesterday in the workshop, Anan Pan, that's her name. She's a 10th grader. After taking my AI curriculum, she launched the company. A 10th grader launched the company after taking the curriculum. She came up with a company called the EasySA.com. Take a screenshot. I'm not lying. go to that website. You will be able to see this is a solution that evaluates all IB essays and gives you feedback based on criterion by criterion. It gives you all the feedback. Again, the address is easy-essay.com. You can spread this, and the students can try this and gives you feedback, very, very detailed feedback, how you could improve your the essay. And she launched this company. So these kids are digital, not just the digital natives, AI natives. AI natives. What will you do at NTU when these come to NTU? What will you do with them? You're going to be teaching them how to program Python, make sure that all the indentions are correct, the periods and colons, where to put them. Are you going to be teaching that? These kids will be laughing at you. These kids will be laughing. They need AG, not BG, right? George Bernard Shaw said, imagination is the beginning of creation. To me, when your curriculum empowers students to imagine, create, and co-evolve, it stops teaching content and starts growing futures. Remember what I said yesterday? Create the future one prompt at a time. You remember? Imagination is creation. So we need to think about how do we apply this in creating AEG. And I think this creativity, imagination comes from question. If you don't have any question, it's hard to create anything. But if you're curious, you'd like to know, that's where the innovation starts. So that's why I care a lot about the importance of questioning. And I came up with this project, Stanford Mobile Inquiry-Based Learning Environment. I invented this in 2012. When I started to spread this solution around the world, say, question is very important. You have to teach your students not just to answer, but ask questions. And people say, well, yeah, okay, thank you, but no thank you. Now, it's different. When I was talking about it in 2012, yeah, thank you. But now everybody say, yes, I agree. Question is more important than answers. What we do in schools, this is what we do in schools. We try to get them to understand something, remember something, but they will end up forgetting. What we need to do is have them create questions that will trigger creativity. Google did this in 2016. Google, you know the company Google? They came up with a system called the Dory. Did you watch the movie Finding Nemo? That movie, the bluefish. What does the bluefish do? Continues to ask questions, right? So the Google came up with a system called Dory. They said, question is more important. That will get us to continue to innovate. So Google came up with a system called Dory and invited all employees to ask any questions. And then they were able to evaluate each other's questions. The question that gets to the top of the list, the CEO responds to that question. And Eric Schmidt said that we run this company on questions, not answers. If employees do not have questions, your company is dead. If your classroom, in your classroom, if students don't have any students, there's no learning. So I came up with Ask Smile as well. We use this in the workshop. Basically, this takes a question and gives you suggestion how you might improve your question. Ask Smile. So students ask questions in their design thinking, in medical school, all kinds of classes. They ask questions. You're seeing a photo from Malaysia. What's the Johor. That's where I was. Doing the workshop with the teachers. So basically, students interact with Ask Smile to continue to improve your question. And when I introduced this tool to students in various countries, in a science class, in particular example here, what are salt crystals? That's a level 1 question. And so the students learn, oh, I need to improve this question, and with the suggestions, And they came up with, why does salt crystallize? That's a level 2 question. And then finally, the student came up with an interesting question. How does the type of salt affect surface tension and its effectiveness in dyeing fabric as a mordant? Students came up with this question, and then he Googled it, and Googled, there's no result for this question. I said, that's great. You came up with a question that you cannot find in Google. That is, to me, is a foundational question. That's the kind of questions it's worth answering. So students were able to conduct real experiments. How does the different types of salts behave differently and so forth? Took the microscope pictures to investigate and came up with the answer and wrote a report. This is very different kind of science class. In a typical science class, you follow the script. You do this, write the reports, etc., etc. But in AG, let the students ask questions and let them find the answers by themselves. The AI is coaching students, and the teachers are there to facilitate their learning process. That's AG. Students must be able to create their own foundational questions, questions that do not appear on Google search. Have you been to Twin Towers in Malaysia? If you go to, I think it's the 3rd floor, you will see a big screen with Ask Smile system. This is at the shopping mall. You know where the shopping mall is? In Twin Tower. There's Ask Smile. So there's a challenge. Anybody who come there, they can ask questions to get level 5 question. And so I was able to collect many, many questions from around the world. And I took samples, 30,000 of them. And I was able to see how their questions evolve over time. The earlier questions versus the later questions with the help of AI. Does AI really help to improve their questions? The statistics says yes. The AI does help significantly to help students improve their critical thinking questions. So there is a version 2 of this where you can type in keywords so that you can connect different kind of keywords from different domains and connect them and create critical thinking questions. Hopefully they are foundational questions. And a lot of people ask me, hey, I have questions about your research paper, this one, that one. I said, well, why don't you just go to this website and ask the AI. The AI will respond way better than I can with all the statistical findings and everything. So I developed this. And I launched the coaching system, smart coaching system in Metro City in Incheon, which has about 400,000 students. The system takes inputs from students' interests, the books that they read, topics of the writings that they have done, things like that. And it gives individualized learning journey for each student, each individual student. So basically, based on your interests, preferences, location, the system customizes your learning journey. It gives you personal challenges. Hey, here are some of the questions you may want to answer. Here are the places you want to visit. Here are the people you may want to meet. And here are the books you may want to read, things like that. It gives you very, very personalized, individualized learning journey. Korea, the Ministry of Education, they came up with an AI digital textbook, and they launched it this March. And I don't really like their approach because they are using AI to teach what? The same BG. And I think that's totally wrong. And hopefully no one is recording this, what I'm saying here. I don't want to be banned to go to Korea. But anyway, they don't have a president right now. They're going to have a president in a few days. But anyway, their approach is wrong. They are using the AI to teach the same BG. Why? That's not the good use of AI, in my opinion. I think this is better, where you give students individual learning journey, right, based on their interest. Another metro city in Korea, Ulsan, they have 200,000 students. They launched this AI tool. This is between AG and BG, I think, because they try to personalize student learning and try to teach the school subjects exactly the way that they used to teach in the BG era. In China, I kind of took a look at some of the phenomena in China. In 2023, they came up with a mandate, 10% of all K-12 schools by 2025. This year, scaling to 50% by 2030. AI integration has to happen. AI plus education, pilot zones in 30 cities, AI tutors, AI for STEM and coding. 90% of top-tier schools now include AI robotics in their curricula. Chinese lead the AI-powered education, and they're all driven by government. I don't know whether it's a good thing or not, but at least they're doing something, and they are realizing the importance of AI. As the chair of International Expert Committee of World Bank, we took leading edtech companies leveraging AI, and we came up with a report. Whether these edtech companies are primed for the age of AI. And here's the recommendation that we found. Things that are lacking from the edtech solutions that are out there today. Contextual alignment was missing. They tried to come up with a one-size-fits-all kind of approach. That was still common. To me, that is still BG approach. So contextualizing must happen. And infrastructure and capacity building are prerequisites. A lot of these approaches didn't have proper training in place. The faculty, the teachers didn't have the will to learn or master these AI tools to change their curriculum. So that was missing. And trust, the safety and open ecosystem matters because we still don't trust what's happening with AI in many cases. And many of the claims are not evidence-based still. And then EdTech must embrace future skills. I think this is the most important thing. Do you guys know Chris Dede at Harvard? Harvard University, the School of Education, Chris Dede, he and I, we've been friends for many, many years. And he said something very important and interesting. He said that the students in schools today are preparing for the wrong future. And I agree. I agree with him. Do you guys remember AlphaGo? When was it? 2016. The AlphaGo from DeepMind played against Lee Sedol, the top Go player at the time. And he played against AI 5 times. He lost 4 times. And he won only once. And he retired after this. But he said something very interesting. Very, very interesting. He said that the move that AI made in the Go game was really creative and beautiful. This is not something I expected to hear from him. He said that AI, the move, I thought this is all calculated based on algorithms, so how could it be beautiful? How could it be creative? It's just maybe intelligent and smart. But Lee Sedol said that that move is unconventional. Never seen anything like it. He said that was really creative and beautiful. And that got me thinking, could AI create something that's really creative and beautiful? And I heard lately, the Go game is now more popular because AI creates all kinds of moves that never existed in human history for 4,000 years. That's kind of interesting and scary. And when they train Go game these days, you know what they do? They do not involve human best practices. Let me repeat what I just said. When you train AI, they no longer involve or use human best practices when they train AI. That's scary. You know why? Because if you use human best practices when you train AI, it degrades its performance. I thought that the best humans can do is always better than what AI can do. But what AI is saying is, I don't need your help. because it will just degrade my performance. Your best performance is not what I am interested in. That's what AI is saying. It's very scary. So human best practices degrade the potential performance of AI. That's very scary. What they do is they use self-play reinforcement learning. Let the AI play against each other, and they come up with more creative, more advanced tactics and strategies that humans can never even fathom to play. That's scary. I'm sure you're familiar with the incident in Lebanon years ago. And also, do you know what ammonium nitrate is? Ammonium nitrate. You use this chemical composition to make fertilizer. This is the best invention in human history, that you can come up with a fertilizer to raise crops and then create or produce all the foods that we eat. Without this, we'd be very hungry now. But that's an amazing human invention. But it also is used for making bombs. To me, AI is like this. AI could be an invention, the best invention human ever created, but also it can become a deadly thing for human history. So it depends how we use AI matters. And I mentioned 6 C's, why it's important to have students develop compassion and commitment. And why do we need to teach them the purpose of education? Because if you do not have compassion and commitment to make this world a better place for all, they could be dangerous individuals. We've seen this in human history. People who are smart, intelligent, who can communicate well, who have critical thinking, creativity, all these things. But if they don't have compassion, they could be dangerous individuals. And that's why we, as an educators, must know. Here's my contact info. I hope that I would love to continue this collaboration and dialogue, and we can all work together to make this world a better place for all. And as educators, hopefully we'll be employing not BG, but AG, okay? And continue to make a difference in everywhere around the world. Also, I'm a pilot. When I turned 50 years old, I decided I gotta do something different. So I got myself a pilot license. And this is something that I usually do. I ask the audience to give me something that's so foundational question. And if I like your foundational question, I'll give you a ride. On my plane, this is the view of Silicon Valley at night. About 2,500 feet altitude, you fly at night, very quiet. You can see Google, Facebook, you can see Apple Ring over there. You can see the whole Silicon Valley, and you can look them down. You can see, that's Stanford. You can see Stanford too. So you can see all that. You can look them down, like I'm on top of you all. You can have that sensation, but you got to send me a foundational question that will really earn this right, okay? So thank you for your attention this morning. Hopefully you got something out of this, and then I'll take your questions. Any questions? Yes, we have a gentleman here with a foundational question.
Yes, thank you. I will take an attempt at a foundational question. So my name is Fan Seong. I work in NTU. I'm the head of the Learning Ethics Center here. So you just talked about the AlphaGo, story, where the Lee Sung-bo, I think that's his name, was actually talking about that he recognized the move by the AI as being really creative and beautiful. And I was just reflecting that for him to actually make those statements, that he must have been working very hard at or goal game to be able to recognize that that is a really beautiful and creative move. So if we have a curriculum that is AG, that's focusing on getting, asking questions to the AI, and we get AI not even requiring human input to become really creative, do we actually develop humans, or how might we actually develop humans that will recognize that what AI is doing is actually creative and beautiful? So that's a foundation question.
Hello.
You think so?
Yeah.
Did he earn the ride? Yes? Okay, you got it. You let me know when you're coming. Okay, that's a very good question. How do we know whether it's something that done by AI is beautiful and creative unless you reach a certain level of expertise? What I like to say is this is the age where there is the phenomenon, demise of expertise. Demise of expertise. Today, if I ask a fifth grader, Leo, hey, I want you to prepare for keynote speech tomorrow about new electrical batteries. He can come up with a keynote speech for tomorrow's session in a minute. So what does it mean, expertise? Now AI neutralized, it equalizes. So getting to that expert level is so simple and easy. All you have to do is ask, continuously asking, what don't I know? What do I need to know? I mean, you have series of questions you can ask about a particular subject or domain in any level. And you will be able to reach that level very quickly, no matter what age group you're in, no matter what background you may have. That fifth grader, Leo, could come up with the whole blueprint for a nuclear reactor in 5 minutes, maybe, right? So recognizing that it's not going to take the same kind of the time and efforts that it used to take in the BG era. Now it's different. And I think what's more important is that the will and commitment to get in the interaction with the AI, to continuously interact and figure out what is it that I'm missing. What I am here, I know this much. In order to be there, what do I need to do? The AI can give you the whole route and also necessary information to get there. So answering whether something is beautiful or not, you can also ask, is this conventional move or not? The AI will tell you immediately. It is or it is not. Humans can make mistakes, right? But if you know that AI has all that, the reinforcement learning by itself, it probably is going to be more accurate than humans can possibly answer that question. So getting to the expertise level, it's different now. And I think the question is, then how do we prepare students? I think only way to prepare our students for the future is get them to be more creative and do more beautiful things and have compassion. Because AI, when AI is asked a question, AI does not know, is there pain? Is someone suffering? AI does not know that. Only humans know because we have heart. AI doesn't. And so that's the area where we want to focus. Is that helpful? Yes, you have a question?
No.
Thank you for your excellent presentation, very impressive. I learned greatly from your work. Congratulations, actually, for your wonderful work that you have actually impacted a wide range of people from different countries. My question, I have really two parts, if I may. The first one is actually, I'm very happy to hear from your presentation, you talk about the 6 C's, including compassion and commitment, besides the usual 4 C's, talk about critical thinking, communication, and so on and so forth. And in fact, what you have been doing, I would say that it is very, very much brain-based learning type of pedagogy. And I really hope that more professors and teachers and all that can be like you. And I think that will really take our teaching and learning to a greater level. But my question is really that how do we really nurture, students to have these 6 C's first? Because you talk about meta AI. In order to be able to ask question, I'm talking about deep question or your foundation question. You need a certain level of competency within the human brain. If you don't have that, I don't think you can ask a deep question. In fact, as a professor myself, I like students to be able to ask deep question. In fact, if they are able to ask deep question, I will give them 100 marks. But in order to be able to ask deep question, it is not so easy. And also, we have to remember that in a class of 100 students, everyone has a different ability. That is what the brain-based learning talking about. Every brain is different. Every brain is unique. So I would just like to hear from you, how do you nurture these 6 C's before you talk about using AI? And then the other side question that I have in my mind is actually that recently we heard from the press that the Swedish government is reversing the gear, and now they want to focus more on very basic thing of books, paper and so on and so forth. They say that the digital technology is sometimes can be more harmful, the screen time and so on and so forth. So I'd just like to hear your comment on that as well. Thank you very much.
Deep questions come from deep heart. A question could be very light if you don't care. It will be just up here. Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I can answer that with the knowledge I have, experience I have. That's a very light question. You will not be committed to really answer the question or do anything about that. But deep questions come from heart. And that heart comes from exposure. And you remember about the VR project for the Syrian refugees in Lebanon? My colleague went there to create 360 VR world and interviewing all the refugees and bring it back to Stanford so that students can have almost real experience of interviewing the refugees. That exposure changed their heart. They saw, wow, I did not know that these people are suffering. I did not know that they have that much pain. I did not know they need many things. That changed their heart. And that made them come up with many questions to solve. So what you need to do, I think, is to show the world as much as you can about the real world, not the bubble world. Silicon Valley is in a bubble. A lot of students in Silicon Valley who never got out of Silicon Valley, they think the whole world is like Silicon Valley. That's a huge problem. So I try to take those students out of Silicon Valley and take them to many different places. Hey, that's just, you're living in a bubble. The whole world is not like that. The whole world, the real world is not like that. I want the students to realize that so that they start to see, oh, I really care. And I like to answer many questions that come from my deep heart, because those are deep questions. But it comes from building up the compassion. In order to do that, you need to give your students enough exposure. If you cannot take your students, make a VR so that they can at least experience what is it like to be in a refugee camp things like that. I'm just giving you an example. But if you can take your students to different parts of the world and marginalize the communities and so forth, whatever subject you're teaching, it could be philosophy, history, music, science, computer, whatever that subject may be, you will have some projects to do for them. I promise. It doesn't matter what subject you're teaching. You will always have problems for students to solve based on your teaching materials and your goals in your class. They could be developing some apps. They could be solving some physical problems or chemistry, biology, whatever that may be. I like that kind of course where everything can be combined. And I especially like those courses where we invite students from different departments, interdisciplinary projects. And at Stanford, I signed off a lot of student designed courses, meaning that students come up with a course idea. Hey, professor, I like to do these things for this quarter or 2 quarters. These are the problems that I want to solve, and please sign this off so that I can do this. And so I've done a lot of independent student-designed courses. And I don't know if you have it here at NTU, but that's something that would be great. We will take one last question. One last. Say that again. Oh, the screen time.
Yeah, screen time.
Screen time.
They are, reverting back to.
Yeah, screen time issue is a transitory issue. Right now, we are worried about how much they're looking at things. Tomorrow, they're not going to be looking at anything. They'll be just talking with AI, with some sort of a communication methodology. So that is just a transitional issue. I don't think it's a serious issue. 10 years now, I don't think you will be looking at the screen. I don't think you will be carrying a mobile phone either. So it's all temporary. Question back there.
Hi, I'm Arif from NIE in Learning and a first-year MBA student. So beyond your belief in AI and the way you beautifully connect compassion with commitment under your 6 C's, I have a feeling your upbringing played a big role in shaping who you are today. So I'm really curious, what's the best piece of advice your parents ever gave you that has stayed with you and shaped the person you've become? Yeah.
That my parents did not know what grade I was in. Just left me alone. And my father repairs the heating system and things like that. So we had a little space at our home. There are a lot of junk and a lot of tools. So I hated school for 12 years because I was spanked every single day. But when I come home, I went to that room and I took apart a lot of things. I invented many, many things. I was bottom 1% for all subjects for K-12 years. But I always won an award every year, which was invention competition. Invention. When I entered that competition, I always won something. I always invented something new. So that was a big thing for me as growing up. I always wanted to be creative, inventing things. The second one came from a visit that I had. I visited a care center for the disabled. And I just watched that on the TV, and then I felt, I'd like to go do something for them. And I went there, and then I had to carry people who cannot move a finger because their spine cord is damaged. So I helped them for a while there. And then that was in high school years. And in the entrance to that care center, it says that if you can eat by yourself, you are blessed. And I saw that statement, if you can eat by yourself, what's the big deal? But you're blessed. And I felt, wow, I am so blessed because I have all fingers and toes and everything, and I can do a lot more than just eating for myself. And that kind of changed my philosophy about life and the world. And then I started to have a lot of fortunate trips. It will take forever to talk about all the trips that I had to shape me. But I began to see the pains and needs of other people. And I thought that I need to do something. And so I changed my research topic and direction, everything at Stanford, and started to travel around the world and doing these projects. Thank you. I think that's all we have. Let's move on to the next. Thank you, everyone.